Hey everyone, Beth here to talk about some at-desk stretches that you can be doing to help you get you through your workday. Before we talk about some stretches though, let's talk about some basic office ergonomics. So since so many of us are working from home, we're kind of making these makeshift office spaces. So just a couple things to think about as you're setting up your workspace. First, you want to think about the height of your computer. You want your neck to be at a nice neutral position, shouldn't be looking up, shouldn't be looking down. You also want to make sure your computer is about an arm's length away, so that way you're not straining your eyes. The next thing you want to think about is the position that you have your wrists in. You want to make sure they're nice and straight, and you want to make sure they're at or below your elbow. So here is fine, don't want to be up here. That'll really put a lot of strain on your arm muscles. The next thing you want to think about is the height of your chair. You want your knees to be at the level with your hips, so you can even see in my chair, in my workspace, I could definitely have my legs raised a little bit more. So those are just some basic things to think about when you're setting up your workspace. Now let's move into 5 basic stretches you can do while you're at work, even at your desk. The first thing we want to think about are our wrists. They get a lot of strain as a lot of us are typing on the computer a lot. So you really want to focus on stretching these muscles back here and the muscles in here. So you can do that by just lightly bending back till you feel that nice tension. Then you can go the other way, and you can even use the edge of your desk. Now again, remember when we're stretching, we just want to hold these stretches for about 5 breaths, preferably doing them a couple times a day or as needed. Remember, you shouldn't be forcing it and it shouldn't be hurtful, okay? Next, let's talk about our necks. So what we see a lot with people that are working at their desks is they get a forward head posture, kind of like that. Obviously, I'm exaggerating it a little bit, but we want to think about keeping these muscles nice and loose. So the first one will help these scalene muscles that run on the side of your neck. It's really easy. Just bend to the side till you feel a nice stretch. Now, if you're not feeling a stretch there, you can always sit on your hand, and then you'll feel a nice stretch. You can also add in a stretch for your SCM muscle. It's that really thick muscle that most of us can see or feel. It's that same stretch, but you're just going to kind of look over your shoulder, okay, till you feel that nice tension. Make sure you're not forcing it. Now lastly, to work on that forward head posture that so many of us get, we're like this. So you just really want to think about retracting, just very, very slightly. It's probably even kind of hard to see, but I'm just thinking about touching my chin to my chest. You want to do that probably about 10 times, again, a couple of times a day or as needed. The other thing we really see a lot of, again, when people are working from home or just at their desk a lot, we also see those shoulders kind of roll forward. So you really want to think about opening up your chest so you can stay in, this is called the relief position. Just kind of like that, feeling a nice stretch in my chest. Again, holding that for probably 5 or so breaths, as needed, or at least a couple times a day. Now, if you don't feel a good enough stretch with that, you can also think about wrapping around the back of your chair until you feel that nice stretch in your chest. Lastly, we have a couple more stretches we're going to go over. We're actually going to stand up, but we're still going to use our work chair. This one, just kind of bend over, using the back of your chair until you feel that nice stretch in your upper back. Again, you want to hold that for about 5 breaths. And then lastly, the last thing you want to think about is, since we're all in a seated position so much, sorry, no worries.
Are you live?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You're guest starring. That's all right. Is you want to think about keeping those hip flexors nice and loose, since we're sitting so much these days. So again, you want to use the back of your chair and just feel that nice stretch, okay? So you can do all of these as needed, like I said, at least hopefully a couple times a day, and hold each stretch for probably about 5 breaths. If you have any more specific questions on stretches or how to set up your office space, feel free to drop me a question in the comments. And don't forget, next week is Pumpkin Day. You're not only going to be able to vote on your favorite staff costume, but every appointment gets a free pumpkin. See you then.